So welcome back to the Contrarians. We're doing another fun panel discussion today. We're going to be talking about Yacht Rock. Yacht Rock. I always say that weird. It sounds so weird coming out. But anyways, we've got a great panel here today. They're going to tell you how they feel about Yacht Rock, and then we'll have just sort of a nice, fun seafaring discussion. There is a Patreon if you like the content and you want to get on these chats. Any tier will get you in. There is also a Ko-fi. There's also a TeePublic, and of course, you can like and subscribe if you like the content. All that out of the way, I'm going to go around and each of our panelists will give their thesis, as it were, and then we'll have a nice discussion. I'm going to ask each of them as well to give a brief introduction about who they are. So you can know who they are at home and where to find them. And yeah, with that all the way, we'll start with Bill.
All right, hello everybody. I don't really have a channel to plug or anything. This is pretty much my virgin YouTube experience appearing on the Contrarians here with you guys. So can't find me anywhere else really. So I am glad to be here though. It's a fun channel. And I am a bit contrarian in many ways, so it's a perfect home for me. So regarding Yacht Rock, it's very clearly a made-up genre well after the fact. However, it generally has to do with music that I have a great love for, that I've been a fan of for many decades. I've seen different definitions that typically bring it mid-70s to mid-80s. At least that's the vague general definition I've seen looking up what the actual creators of the term had to say about it. I tend to kind of narrow it down for my own arbitrary reasons to about 78 to 82. General soft rock. And in order to make it so I didn't have a massive list to pick from for some of my favorite yacht rock songs, I decided to go ahead and stick with nautical themes having to do with water, being on the water. And I found out when I picked my, say, top 3 songs, they all had a theme of escape as well, which was accidental, but yeah, kind of interesting. So, and I see Tim is here. I actually watched Tim's episode with his wife recently where they discussed this subject, and you might recognize my choices because there's some definite similarities. So I've just got a basic top 3. If we have time for some honorable mentions later, I got a few, perhaps a couple more dark horse candidates, but these are all pretty basic, big, obvious choices based on the nautical theme. A huge one is Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills and Nash, who are absolutely not someone I would consider part of that genre, but Southern Cross is absolutely perfect for this genre, considering that Stephen Stills was going through a breakup and went out on his yacht, literally, to deal with this breakup of his relationship. It has some great lyrics to it. I've always absolutely loved the I have my ship and all her flags are flying. She's all that I have left and music is her name. And that's just such a wonderful lyric. And my passion for music, that really speaks to me. Hey, there's Grant.
I'm here. Sorry.
My number 2 pick for these would be, well, Tim's wife had it as her number 1 choice, and I can't argue with that either. It's Sailing by Christopher Cross. And absolutely. Really, it probably should be number 1, but I have a bit more of a soft spot for my other pick. So it's still a wonderful song, though. Sailing takes me away to where I've always heard it could be. Just a dream and wind carry me. Soon I will be free. More talk of escaping. I think anytime I go out in my cheap little boat on our little mossy pond, I am escaping. That is my place of serenity. Even though I can just see the land all around me, there's something magical about that just floating around on the water out there. I don't have the ocean. I don't have any giant lake or anything like that. It's just a tiny pond, but I think it's the same vibe. And I love listening to these songs and singing along with them when I'm out there. And I especially love listening to my number one pick, which is Little River Band, Cool Change. That just pure magic. That, oh man, I love Little River Band anyway, but that one is, of course, yet another escaping on the water lyric. If there's one thing in my life that's missing, it's the time that I spend alone sailing on the cool and bright clear water. Kind of a special feeling out on the sea alone, sailing or staring at the full moon like a lover. That's just such a poetic lyric. And if I'm out there at night on the pond and I look up and the moon is there, pure magic. Made up genre or not, it doesn't matter. These are great songs. I don't pretend these are guilty pleasures. These are just simply pleasures. It's good stuff. I'll go back to this music time and time again. It just makes me feel good. And I think that's about it for this first go around. Thank you.
Awesome. This is very eloquent. You painted a picture. Excellent. So thanks, Bill. We'll keep sailing along, and we'll go over to Matt next.
Hi, everybody. So in my household, we are big Yacht Rock fans. Pretty much every weekend, we're putting on the Sirius XM Yacht Rock channel, and that's kind of our family time. We have coffee together, and a peace of mind and a slice of a lifestyle that we don't have whatsoever in our real lives. But it is sort of a nice getaway to listen to the music. And sometimes we'll hear songs on there and we'll be kind of surprised, like, oh, is that Yacht Rock? And so I agree, it is a made up genre, but that doesn't keep us from going real deep into trying to define the genre and coming up with subgenres of it. One of the, I think, characteristics for me, seems like it's a subgenre of soft rock, but that, there's and they play this up on the Yacht Rock channel, but there's a level of smoothness to it that the songs have, whatever that means, a smoothness to it. And so we've kind of come up with our own scale, right? Like, so if a song is, how many O's in smooth does it need to have to really be Yacht Rock? And we say it's got to at least have 3 O's to be in there. And I think that's a Colonel Potter from MASH line, was the first time I heard it. So I'd like to put forth the Potter scale. So as we're looking at whether or not something qualifies as Yacht Rock, you can take a look at how many O's in smooth we think it has. Some of the favorite ones that I really enjoy. One, I guess, would be a proto Yacht Rock song, just from the time period, because I hear that as well, that it's sort of mid to late 70s into early 80s. And but Brandy by Looking Glass, certainly thematically, it's got the nautical theme. It's such a well-crafted song, and I think that's something that Yacht Rock has across the board. They're just really well-produced, well-played, well-crafted songs. So even if most of the stuff I enjoy listening to has more grit and rock into it, you just can't help but love the quality of the productions. And Brandy's a masterpiece in lyric writing. I think the lyrics are so short and they tell a story in very few words. Fantastic song. 2 other songs that I thought I'd bring up. One would be Sarah Smile by Hall & Oates. And that's a little early too for Yacht Rock, but I mean, it's just an amazing song, amazing vocal performance, really cool chord changes. But I think it definitely kind of belongs in the Yacht Rock Hall of Fame, because to me, it had a part 2, which wasn't by Hall & Oates, but Play Your Baby Come Back, which is right in the Yacht Rock like wheelhouse, right? You hear that all the time and it's time period and everything, and smoothness, a lot of O's in that song. And it's sort of like an answer song to it, right? It's She's Gone, Now Baby Come Back. It's quite similar in style, and it even has that kind of a big breakdown where it stops and then goes back into the chorus, or the "She's Gone" or "Baby Come Back." So I think that's kind of like a twofer, and so Hall & Oates should definitely be in the Yacht Rock Hall of Fame here. And then the last one I just wanted to put forward is kind of a subgenre, and there's a few examples that I like, but the one I wanted to talk about would be "Ride Like the Wind" by Christopher Cross, another Christopher Cross song. There's this weird set of yacht rock songs that lyrically are kind of like talking about criminal type stuff, right? So it's almost like Elmore Leonard novels, and they're on the run or there's a crime. So Boz Scaggs like JoJo and things like that. Certainly this Christopher Cross song. And so I guess if you think Steely Dan is yacht rock, which maybe we can talk about later, some of their songs would qualify as well. So to me, there's this like subgenre where they're focused on this kind of criminal elements. And to me, in my mind, I picture like, well, they didn't have enough money to afford a yacht, so they had to turn to a life of crime. And my play on words here is, right, they had to become smooth criminals, right? So that's my smooth criminal subgenre. And I guess I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks very much, Matt. Keep it moving right along. We'll go over to Nick. You're up.
Thanks, Nick. I've been a contrarian for over a year, and I don't have a channel. You might see me on other places like Grant's Rock Warehouse, and here's Grant. Yacht rock, to me, baked in the cake of the definition is a derogatory thing. It's derisive. I think there's a certain cheese factor when people talk about yacht rock. I think there's a lot of bad yacht rock. I think there's a lot of good yacht rock. There's a Supreme Court justice who said famously, in trying to describe or define what pornography was, it's hard to describe and define, but I know it when I see it. And that to me reminds me of yacht rock. I know it when I hear it, but it is hard to describe and define. And some of the things tonight already, Matt describing as soft rock. Yes, there's subgenres. Water and nautical themes, absolutely. For me, if I hear the words "fool" or "lady" in the song, that's yacht rock. Certain softness to it. Talking about a vacation, booze, that sort of thing. I know one way to determine whether a song's yacht rock. It's my own scale. If my lady can't stand it, it's probably yacht rock. She hates yacht rock. It reminds her of traveling with her family in a station wagon in the 70s. Or perhaps I described it as stuff I'd hear at the dentist's office. And so that would be classic yacht rock. And so for me, what I try to find are songs that I actually like and she liked, and songs that perhaps we don't hear a lot about anymore, or don't even think of them as yacht rock. And I'll give you these quickly. I don't have the actual album, but the artist. Chris Rea, "Fool If You Think It's Over." You got the word "fool" and you got the word "lady" in there. And you've got horns, a sax solo, you've got strings, and Chris Rea is great. So I do like that one, and that one usually doesn't jump out at people, but that's a great song. You don't hear much ladies described, or women artists, as yacht rock, but I think I have one. It's a duet, Susie Quattro and Chris Norman stumbling in. That to me is a good yacht rock song, bordering on just rock. But and that was her biggest hit, actually. I'll give you one more, and he has other better yacht rock songs, and I think this might be proto yacht rock, but it's an album that was all synthesizer and keyboards and Moog and all this nonsense, except for drums and one guitar solo. Anybody? Tim?
Boy, it seems like I should know this. This is very specific.
Gary Wright.
Oh,
Dreamweaver.
yes.
So I'll give you two off the album, "Love Is Alive" and "Dreamweaver," which are like proto yacht rock. And there was one guitar in this album with one solo. Anybody care to guess who it was?
Crap, I know that.
By the way, Jim Keltner plays drums on this album too. It's all keys. Who else is on here?
Steve Lukather on it?
Holy crap, I didn't know we were gonna have to think.
That's a good one, John. No, not him. All right. Anyone? All right. Time's up. Ronnie Montrose.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. And I think, his later albums in the 70s, Gary Wright, are clearly yacht rock. Even the covers are, he was out on the water, that sort of thing. But, I stumbled on this podcast where they were trying to objectively describe and rank yacht rock songs. A lot of it I disagreed with. It's out there. You see it on all the Spotify and that sort of thing. But a lot of artists were unknown to me in the songs. To me, another thing with yacht rock, whether you find it cheesy or don't like it or whatever, you've got to know the artist and you got to know the song. That to me is like a hallmark of yacht rock. Because if it's going to be somebody playing some douchey guy in their yacht, they don't have much. It's going to be stuff we already know anyway. So, and they're probably going to talk to me whether he's yacht rock or not. They're going to be loving Jimmy Buffett. So Jimmy Buffett and yacht rock go hand in hand, whether you consider him yacht rock. So I know it's derogatory and derisive, but there is good yacht rock out there. And I'll stop. I have more stuff to show, more than a top three, but someone else could help fill in the definition.
All right. Well, thanks, Nick. That was great. So to help fill in the definition, we will go to Tim next.
Thanks, Nick. Tim Derling, my YouTube channel is Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I post videos on a weekly basis. Thank you very much, Bill, for watching the Yacht Rock video that Sarah and I did. That was a lot of fun, and we're probably going to do volume 2 next summer. Yeah, Yacht Rock. I ended up finding the YouTube show that came out in the mid-2000s that JD Reisner and a bunch of guys from allmusic.com, I believe, put this together. And it's this fictitious tale of taking place in California. And what I found intriguing about it is because I do this very thing. They were combing through liner notes of these albums by some of these artists that we used to just call soft rock, and saw all the different connections, like all of the Toto guys playing on all of these albums, and Christopher Cross singing on this album, and Kenny Loggins co-writing this song. And so they basically made this silly little series where they don't look anything like the people they're supposed to look like. And they incorporate, different musicians into it. And I just liked the whole thing, but they would play snippets of the music. And really, it started out as kind of a guilty pleasure, but it ended up being something that Sarah and I both really, really liked. And to me, it's summer music. It makes me think of summer, even if it's the dead of winter and we have to drive to town to get groceries and it's snowing, or, it's really cold out. Put the Yacht Rock playlist on, and all of a sudden we're thinking about what we're going to do for vacation next summer. And another common theme about a lot of these songs is that there are stories. There seem to be stories being told, and like whether it is like somebody on the run, or actually physically being out on the water, or dreaming of being out on the water. There are a lot of stories. There are characters, and I love all the choices I've heard so far. And the Yacht Rock Twitter feed that I follow, I think it's the same guys that did the show or somebody. They have a category called Yacht or Nyat. In other words, is it Yacht? Yeah, Nick knows what I'm talking about. And generally it's considered that, Jimmy Buffett is Nyat, not Yacht Rock. As a matter of fact, there's an episode, I recommend the web series to anybody. It's so silly and low budget, but that's what makes it great. There's one episode where one of the characters gets captured by a group of parrot heads and they have to be rescued. And it's every bit as silly as it sounds. Somebody posted, is Steve Miller Yacht Rock? And they came back, not even close. So, it's fun that we can debate this stuff. It is a bit of a derogatory term. Myself, for my musical taste, I kind of use it, I guess, ironically, the way I would use the term hair metal, which I think is a little derogatory too, because I think there's, there's the cream of the crop and then there's the rest. And that's the same for any musical genre. But for the most part, like Matt said, Yacht Rock is impeccably produced, written, performed, sang. It's all very, very professionally done. And it is smooth. Smooth is the operative word. Not a lot of rough edges. Every once in a while, you get a song that just skirts the edge of being, whoa, not soft rock anymore, but just rock. Like something like, and I won't. I didn't pick the song. I mentioned it in my episode, but "Lonely Boy" by Andrew Gold. Like that's a pretty smooth song, but it's got that waddy wachtel, yeah, like awesome guitar slide and guitar solo in it, where it almost starts to break a sweat. You don't want to break too much of a sweat with yacht rock. You just want it smooth, man. And for the most part, it has nothing to do with music that I actually buy and purchase on a regular basis. It's really its own thing. But I do have 3 examples of what you could call yacht rock that I actually own, and 2 of these I talked about on my episode. One I did not, but the first one I want to talk about. There are some artists that are sort of strictly in the yacht rock canon. You don't really hear tell of them too much outside of when people are talking about yacht rock. And I'll use people like Ambrosia and Firefall and Pablo Cruz. You usually don't hear those names in any other context but when someone's talking about yacht rock. But then there are bands that in and of themselves aren't yacht rock, making an awful lot of rules here, but have songs that certainly qualify as yacht rock. And Fleetwood Mac are one of those bands. I mean, they have a lot of songs that are yacht rock and a lot of songs that aren't. But one of my favorites, and it's a well-known band, not a well-known song, and I think more people need to discover it, is a song called Hypnotized from this album, Mystery to Me. This is the era featuring the late Bob Welsh, who's a yacht rock artist in his own right, with his like Sentimental Lady and Ebony Eyes. But Hypnotized is just a really, really cool shuffle of the song. It's got a really interesting lyric. It's very evocative. It's very mysterious. I have no idea what he's singing about half the time. The way his vocals are mixed, there's like 2 or 3 vocal tracks at the same time. Mick Fleetwood keeps up this insane drum shuffle all the way through, and it never really changes, but it's more of a stamina thing. There's really cool guitar work in it, and I think it got a little bit of FM play in the late 70s after the self-titled and Rumors albums became big, but it's a really great song. I highly recommend checking it out. And I have heard it on the Serious Yacht Rock channel, so other people know about it as well, but I always like to trumpet the horn for that song, Hypnotized. Next one I want to talk about, probably the group with the most members spread amongst more yacht rock songs and basically hit songs in general from the late 70s through to at least the mid 80s, and that's Toto. But I want to go with a less obvious song from this album, Hydra, from 1979. I want to go with their song 99, which was a minor hit single for them. Again, it's a story. 99 refers to a woman. I think it's based on a science fiction film where everybody had numbers for names. It's a beautiful sort of mid-tempo piano-based ballad written by David Pace, sung by Steve Lukather. To me, it's sort of a rainy day at the yacht, on the yacht. It's raining that day. It's very rainy, but it's really well done. And of course, it's Toto, so every drum fill is perfect. Every piano note is perfect. The vocal melodies are spot on. So that's the one I wanted to go with. And then the third one is one I've never talked about being yacht rock before, but I want to mention it and get some discussion going, because I think if this was by any other artist with maybe slightly different lyrics for most of the songs, this would be total yacht rock. This is Alice Cooper's 1978 album, From the Inside, and the song I'm going to pick is How You Gonna See Me Now. If that song came on without any context and you didn't know who it was on a yacht rock station or a radio station doing a yacht rock block, you wouldn't bat an eyelash. It's very mellow. He had a lot of mellow tunes in the late 70s. He had like You and Me and I Never Cry, but this one is the yachtest of the yacht rock, I think. The album was produced by David Foster, so it's got that yacht rock smoothness. It's got Bobby Kimball, Steve Lukather, a ton of the Toto guys playing and singing backup on it. It's Alice's yacht rock album, but no one's ever called it that before. I hereby appoint myself the first to say Alice Cooper did a yacht rock album, and it's From the Inside. Ostensibly, the album was about his initial stay in rehab, and a lot of the lyrics deal with that. But musically, it's very late 70s soft rock for the most part. A couple of songs like Sirius and the title song, again, Break a Sweat a little bit. but only just so much. It's a pretty mellow album. He got really mellow in the late 70s with like Lace and Whiskey and this album. But yeah, How You Gonna See Me Now? That's my third choice for Yacht Rock.
I must say, Tim, though, if you're playing it off 8-track, it's instant yacht rock. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I don't know. There's some, I mean, you know, you can get punk 8 tracks. I mean, it's there's
Well,
Judas
you know,
Priest 8 tracks,
I'm just throwing it in there.
But yeah, that's another reason I should say that I brought these out, because I figure it doesn't get much more yacht rock than you're in the late 70s. You've got a really bad mustache,
Right.
and lots of hair, and a really hairy chest, and your shirt's open, and you're out on your yacht, and you got an 8-track deck on your yacht. That's
Exactly. That's
how
what
it
I'm
is.
going for.
Yeah, exactly.
That
And I love the yeah. It's been a while since we've had the Sirius, but we get such a kick out of the liners that they would use Yacht Rock Radio, and and there was something about loose shirts and loose morals or something like that, or you know, when you've got 4 buttons unbuttoned. Anyway, they really played it up. And again, it started as a guilty pleasure, and the name is, like Nick said, kind of derogatory, but I love it. I'm you know, count me in on Yacht Rock.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Tim. We appreciate your view on it. We're gonna float on over to John the MusicNut next, and you're up, sir.
Yay. Thank you so much, Nick. It's great to be here. I'm going to co-sign with Tim. Yeah, maybe it's a derisive term, but a good song's a good song, no matter what genre, no matter what you call it. And I was going to talk about the hair metal analogy as well. I mean, it's like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. They're good songs. You know, they're just good songs. And when I think of yacht rock, I think of songs that have wonderful harmonies and melodies that stick with you from the first time you hear them. And here's another thing that I thought about with yacht rock. I mean, it's starting to get so popular now. And think about the time when these songs were being released back in the late 70s and early 80s. And think about what was going on in the world then. Very similar to what's going on in the world now. It's a means of escape. It's a means to escape all the drama that's right in your face these days with social media and all that, the way the news covers everything. It's a means to escape what's going on. Think about happy times. And, you know, these songs aren't inventing the wheel. They're just great songs, and they're positive songs, positive vibes. So that's one thing I think about with yacht rock. And again, the songs are so wonderful, and I'm going to co-sign with Mr. Bill Schuster here. I also love the Little River Band. Here's one thing I could say about a lot of yacht rock. And I mean this, I don't mean this to be a negative thing. A lot of times just pick up the greatest hits albums. That's all you need. Like Little River Band's 10 greatest hits.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and all of them are hits, and they're all great songs that sound great today. And I'm going to pick a song of Perseverance called The Lonesome Loser. It starts out with the chorus, just like they did back in the 60s. So many of those early Beatles songs, they just start out with the chorus, just hit you right there. Song was written by David Briggs. It's got a fantastic chorus, very memorable. He's a loser, but he still keeps on trying. It's, like I said, song about never giving up. Great little guitar solo in there as well. But The Lonesome Loser is wonderful. Any of the big hits by the Little River Band, you can't go wrong. One of the great bands that came out of Australia. Now, my number 2 is an artist who's no longer with us, and he had a lot. I didn't realize he had 8 top 40 singles in the United States. But he had 3 that you hear on yacht rock radios to this day. And when you look at him, he looks like an Allman Brother, you know? And
But I know exactly who you're going to say. I think.
Paul Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Crazy
what I was
looking.
thinking.
He looks
like a dirty hippie.
Yeah.
But his music is smooth like butter. The song I'm going to pick is Cool Night.
Oh, yeah. Great song.
Cool Night. It's just it's so simple that you can predict what the next line is going to be. I mean, it's just that simple a song. The pre-chorus into the chorus is wonderful. Paul Davis is a wonderful songwriter. This is from 1981. Interestingly, this was his last album, and it was his only album, I think, that went platinum. And it went over 2 million copies in the United States. But Cool Night's a fantastic song. Love it to death. And that's my number 2. This is Super Hits. I don't even know if they put Cool Night, the album that it was on. I don't know if they ever put that back out on CD or not. Oh, wait, they did, but they did it many years later. So my number 1 is, I believe Tim talked about him, and he didn't pick a song by it, but he definitely talked about it. But this band isn't just known for yacht rock. He's known for his work with Jim Messina and his work on soundtracks.
Yeah.
But Kenny Loggins is outstanding music. He's written so many great songs. To me, the pinnacle of this genre is This Is It, which he co-wrote with Michael McDonald. That's the thing. Michael McDonald, you hear his voice on so many of these songs. He worked with so many of these artists. This Is It, with its quiet verses, and he builds into that great chorus. Then there's a key change in the third time he goes into the chorus, which is outstanding, and his voice soars during that. And Michael McDonald plays piano, and you hear him on the harmonies. He actually does one line in the lead vocal as well. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Kenny Loggins. He's not just a soundtrack king. He's not just Your Mama Don't Dance. He made some fantastic songs for this genre. And for my money, This Is It is the best of them all.
And we got to talk about this album cover, Keep the Fire.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've got that album.
That's the best. That's like that. That's right up there with the debut Christopher Cross for like emblematic yacht rock albums.
oh my gosh, yeah. That one here.
Yeah, if there was a mascot for yacht rock, it would be that flamingo.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this sound just a few
It
more.
was huge.
Mhm.
This, to me, this is the quintessential soft rock album. I mean, you had 4 hits. There could have been 7, but back then you didn't have 7 hits on an album. This was 3 years before Michael Jackson made Thriller. You know, I listen. It plays like a greatest, like Boston's debut.
Yeah.
It plays like a greatest hits album. So many of these songs, like the songs that you hear for the first time you didn't hear on the radio, you're like, well, that could have been a hit. Like I Really Don't Know Anymore or Spinning. Those songs are amazing.
Minstrel Gigolo.
Oh my God, yeah, fantastic. And I mean, just when you listen to that album, all the talent around, you hear Michael McDonald's all over that album.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's my picks.
Look at you, John. Just look at you.
I'm like a pig and you know what right now, huh?
I know. I'm surprised.
Well, thanks, John. That was awesome.
you.
We'll keep going right along. Last but not least, Grant.
Oh,
You're
for
up.
God's sakes, me at the last. I'm just surprised we're even talking about Yacht Rock and the Contrarians, because this is so far removed from metal that I'm just absolutely tickled.
That's why I threw Alice Cooper in just to.
Well, I know, Tim, you got to bring it back in. I got it. So based on what I've seen since I came in here late, because it's a long story. I was parking my yacht. Basically, we're defining yacht rock and throwing out 3 tracks, correct? That's what I picked up since I came in late. Well, yacht rock is all it is late 70s, early 80s soft rock that used to be on the top 40 radio with Casey Kasem. It's nothing unusual. It's nothing that hasn't been around forever, but it's got to be smooth. It's got to have grooves. It's got to have more melody than probably the beat. I mean, Steely Dan's a good example, though I hate to even put Steely Dan in there. But if you listen to yacht rock radio, they always throw in Hey 19 or, I just can't imagine they would throw Steely Dan in there. God, but okay. I can see where it fits. But you got to keep the emotions light. It's got to be very catchy. But I've got 3, and I've totally changed my list based on what everyone else has said. Because there are so many tracks that fit in this genre that you'll never run out. Well, you probably could. Now, Nick was mentioning how there's a lot of lack of females in this genre. Is that correct, Nick? Was that you?
Yep.
Well, we're going to throw out, well, there's plenty of females. Well, kind of. I'm going to go with Lot of Love by Nicolette Larson, which was written by Neil Young. And that reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was a big song back in 1978. When I was a kid, you couldn't escape it. But it fits the whole yacht rock genre perfectly. And it's representing the female aspect. So that's a perfect example. Another one I want to throw out is, though I don't know if I can ever listen to this song again, but John the Music Nut was mentioning Dirty Hippies, or maybe that was me mentioning Dirty Hippies, but we're going to throw out another Dirty Hippie, a gentleman that I believe wrote some songs for the Monkees back on the Headquarters album. We're going to go with Michael Murphy's Wildfire. And I think that fits the whole genre perfectly.
Does.
And we're talking 1975. That's kind of early, but it fits right in there, and he does look like a dirty hippie. Give him a yacht and he's ready to go. Now, when I really do think of this whole yacht rock genre, and you can't escape any of it when you look at Sirius XM on their channel, I mean, it is just practically plastered with Michael McDonald. That's all they play in rotation. So I have to mention that. And I think probably one of the most important yacht rocks, God, say this, it's like a riddle. One of the most important yacht rock staples, I would say, is I Keep Forgetting Every Time You're Near, which was off his 1982 album. Whatever the name of that record was, I don't remember. But
if that's what it takes.
If that's what it takes. See, I don't even know what the album's called. See, I still have some pride left. But I think as a single, it totally, when I think yacht rock, I think that song totally. So that would be my number 3. You wouldn't have yacht rock unless you had Michael McDonald or some of those Doobie Brothers tracks, for crying out loud. But anyway, those are my 3, and there you go.
You can play, like, I think they talk about this, like 6 Degrees of Michael McDonald on the Yacht Rock radio. I mean, you could play 6 tracks in a row, and none of them would be by the same artist. And I'm not even talking about playing a Michael McDonald track than the Doobie Brothers. Like, if you play Peg by Steely Dan, there's Michael McDonald. If you play,
he's on everything.
Like I'll Be Over You by Toto, Michael McDonald. Not What a Fool Believes. This Is It. Ride Like the Wind. And probably
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
He's everywhere then, you know.
Yeah. He was like the ubiquitous background singer. Like I love the old SCTV sketch with Rick Moranis as Michael McDonald, and he keeps rushing. He has to rush back to the microphone every time. Just such a long way to go. Like, and he almost misses it every time. And he'll shaking hands. Oh, thanks. Oh, just a minute. Has to go back and sing it one more time. It's great.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
awesome.
We play Michael McDonald tic-tac-toe while listening to Yacht Rock, right? So if you get 3 in a row that he's on, then...
Yeah, or a track that one of the Toto members plays on.
Yeah,
that's a lot too.
Yeah, he was like what Barry Gibb was to disco. Remember when Barry Gibb was on everything?
He was writing everything, or he was singing on everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We should mention though that Christopher Cross album, Toto is all over that record.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But
And
I mean,
Christopher
Christopher
Cross is a great guitar player, and unfortunately, if you hear that guitar solo, it's too buried in the mix on Ride Like the Wind, but he is shredding, and he's the most unlikely looking. He doesn't. you see this big burly guy with a double neck guitar, and you don't expect that voice to come out of that body. It's almost like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And apparently, if any of you guys heard the story where apparently he sat in or he filled in for Richie Blackmore in Deep Purple, like in 1968 or 69, like really,
No.
really early days, like, the Hush days. Now,
No.
Blackmore denies it, but
And I don't know how Christopher Cross got signed because, of course, it was the late 70s. It was a different world.
pre-MTV.
But now he couldn't get signed to save his life.
No.
Yeah. If you don't look like Barbie or Ken, you're doomed.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran.
Well, I don't
That's-
know what about Ed, but
That's a exception, but for sure.
Yeah.
But
he
yeah,
sure has nice hair. I'll give him that.
but Christopher
Better than
Cross
Christopher.
predated MTV by just that much. But yeah, I think that first album has sold like 5 million copies. Like it was a huge album. Not all of these guys, like a lot of these album yacht rock artists, again, like I'm not going to pick on them. I'm just saying Ambrosia and Firefall and Player, they didn't have multi-platinum albums. They had big singles, but some of them had big albums too.
But I will say Ambrosia, the first 2 Ambrosia albums are prog rock classics.
I heard Pete say that on Sea of Tranquility.
Those
I
are
didn't know that.
incredible.
But
I
again,
highly recommend the first 2 albums. Brilliant.
It doesn't surprise me because the common theme throughout most of this music is impeccable musicianship.
Mhm.
So you have to know what you're doing and do these tricky time signature changes and key changes, but not make them sound intrusive. So it doesn't surprise me at all that some of these bands had prog roots.
And Ambrosia had Alan Parsons. Right?
Yeah, Alan Parsons. I think he engineered the second one, I think.
And the members of Ambrosia actually played on the Alan Parsons Project debut album as well.
There you go. Bill's right on it.
And that's another thing. You start comparing the family trees, and it's all over the place. I mean, Matt mentioned Looking Glass, great song.
Yeah.
He say Stars?
Yeah. Two of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 of them were in Stars.
No, all of them were in Looking Glass at some point.
Really?
Later version.
Oh.
When the guy left, the singer, they brought in Michael Lee Smith, and then they brought in Richie and Brendan Harkin.
Oh,
So,
wow.
The
Yeah.
Looking Glass was actually Stars. That's how I was waiting for Matt or you in your show to say that.
Oh, so Looking Glass. So if we put it this way, Looking Glass is to Stars what Elf was to Rainbow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say that's true. Yeah.
And also, there's not, you mentioned, a couple of you have mentioned not a lot of female artists. On our, like, we had Sirius, but we don't anymore. We kind of made up our own, and it's all on Sarah's phone, and we just play it when we're driving somewhere. And she added Midnight Blue by Melissa Manchester to that list, and I think that kind of fits the bill too. And you'd think like Linda Ronstadt or Carly Simon might, but I haven't found any songs that really fit the yacht rock. They're just soft rock. So it's a weird, and also there aren't a lot of Canadian yacht rockers. There's only a couple songs I can think of. One is Marina Del Rey by Mark Jordan, who's kind of a well-known songwriter in Canada, but he did a couple albums in LA in the late 70s. I think a bunch of Toto guys again, and living in Marina Del Rey, how much more yacht rock can you get for a title than that? And the other one is Gino Vanelli, I Just Want to Stop. I hear that one on the yacht rock sometimes, but not a lot of Canadian yacht rock.
Tim, do you know the band Chilliwack?
I certainly. Oh yes, absolutely.
Midnight
We have
from their 1982 album.
We have My Girl,
Gone,
I
Gone,
believe,
something.
on our yacht rock playlist. Yeah, they were, of course, like a lot of had a lot more hits in Canada than they did in the States. But yeah, My Girl, Gone, Gone, Gone was the big one in the States.
Say their next album, the single was What You Gonna Do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the last song in the album was a song called Midnight, and it's a mellow acoustic ballad. And if I had thought about it prior to you talking about the CanCon here, I would have put this on my list. Midnight, Sailing the Midnight Sea. It's a song about being on the water at night. Again,
Totally. I got to check
I
that
would
out.
totally
And
recommend it.
and the other CanCon thing, of course, is Nicolette Larson, Lot of Love. That gets played up here because Neil Young wrote it. It's CanCon.
Mhm.
What about the song Brother Louie by Stories? Would you consider that Yacht Rock?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You would? I wouldn't.
Who was in that band that went on
Ian
to
Lloyd, who did a lot
Yes.
of backing vocals for Foreigner back in the
Foreigner,
day.
yeah.
And Richie Rano, who went on to Stars and Looking Glass.
And Michael Brown, who was in the Beckies, and he was in Left Bank.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's
I don't think he's on that track though, but because that was added on later. That wasn't really part of the original album. They added that on. And it doesn't sound like anything else on that record. Kind of like the Looking Glass thing.
Right. I've got one to ask the group that I was debating about. I don't have the album. I rediscovered the track. And if it's not Yacht Rock, it's a song that I think that Judas Priest should cover. And I think it would be a better cover than or up there with the Green Manalishi or
Diamonds and Rust.
Diamonds and Rust. I'm trying to think the Spooky Tooth song. What is it? Better by
Better-
You.
Yeah.
Better by You. So it's close to line. So you guys tell me. I was thinking about Devil Woman by Cliff Richard.
that's close.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
close.
That's close.
It's got too much of a riff. It's got a great guitar riff.
Again, I like to say it breaks a sweat.
It breaks a sweat. Right.
Yeah, breaks a, you gotta have more. Yeah. You can't have too much
Right.
guitar, but yeah,
But impeccable production and the smooth vocal.
Yeah.
But
and the lyrics.
I would be comfortable playing that on my yacht though.
Right.
Yeah.
On 8-track,
Right.
not on cassette, on 8-track.
Now I
The
want to
vinyl-
see Judas.
The vinyl skips in rough waters, so you definitely
Right.
Yeah. The other thing, the joke I like to make about yacht rock, it's like, either this is the music you listen to when you're out on your yacht, or this music was made by people that sold so many records they can afford yachts.
Yeah.
I think it's the latter.
Yeah. Certainly with, a lot of them with like Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, like, especially when you're a songwriter and you get your songs recorded by other people. I'm kind of surprised nobody's mentioned England Dan and John Ford Coley yet.
They definitely fill that.
And they didn't look like yacht rock either.
They checked that box.
Yeah.
What was the name of what was the hit?
They had Nights Are Forever, Really Like to See You Tonight.
Truly Like to See You Tonight. That one.
That was the big one. But and then they did one. It was a Todd Rundgren song, actually.
Love Is the Answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Todd Rundgren. Some of his songs I think classifies yacht like Can We Still Be Friends? Either his version or the Robert Palmer version. Or Hello, It's Me. Like that's early. It's early. And another one that I like, or another band that I like that had some songs that predate yacht rock is America. I think they have a lot of good yacht rock, and a lot of their songs are stories too. And another example of like the Criminal thing, they had a song, and I think it was late in the game. It was like 1983, and it was a minor top 40 hit called "The Border." And it was actually a song written by Russ Ballard. A lot of people know who recognize that name. It sounds like he was trying to rewrite "Ride Like the Wind."
Wow.
Yeah, and another thing that's fun when we're driving. I mean, I like to when we're listening to the yacht rock. I try to sing everything as if it was Michael McDonald singing it, or try to if Michael McDonald sang back up on it, what would it sound like? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, let's not forget Boz Scaggs.
Yeah.
Lido Shuffle.
Yeah, written by David Page. So there's all like a lot of those songs were almost Toto songs, I would think, and I think most of those guys played on his albums.
It all comes back to Toto, boys. All comes
Toto
back
or Christopher
to Toto.
Cross, who have crossed paths.
Which comes back to Toto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a great one hit wonders that slipped in there too. Remember Key Largo by Bertie Higgins?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic song.
Starbuck, Moonlight Feels Right. I talked
Mm.
about that on.
Mhm.
That is such a quintessential one-hit wonder, and it even sounds like being at the beach at nighttime to me.
It does. Yeah.
When do you guys consider something too recent to be yacht rock?
83.
83.
I have a hard cut.
83.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I really narrowed mine 78 to 82. I was pretty harsh with it.
Well, I understand what you mean, and that was probably the pinnacle for it, but I say it's 1986, and the main reason I say that is because there was that song. It's spelled double, but I think they were called double. They had that song, "The Captain of Her
Oh,
Heart."
Okay.
To me,
that definitely counts.
To me, that's a yacht rock song. That was kind of out of time for 86. And again, that's another that sounds just like nighttime to me. Like
Yeah, you're right.
you can hear the
You're
piano
right.
echoing over the waves.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to that song. They kind of they just repeat that chorus over and over again, but it works. And it's got another funny thing to go down the rabbit hole on with that. It's got about 5 or 6 different videos, like completely different videos.
Wow.
I agree.
So that's why I
think,
say 1986 is kind of a hard stop.
Yep.
And really and was right. 84, 85, 86, there's not a lot that qualifies because it's too synthesized, or it's got drum machines, or just it doesn't have the same feel anymore. You've got a few songs in that time period that I think qualify, like, again, linking back to something earlier, Christine McVie had her song "Got a Hold on Me," which is, to me, that totally fits the yacht rock bill. But again, it doesn't sound like 1984. If you were to
Right.
hear that now, you'd think that song was probably a few years older than it was.
Right.
Mm.
Well, we're coming up to the end of our time, but just to sort of summarize here, I think it's safe to say everyone on this panel is a fan. Yeah, see a lot of shaking heads. So
Wow.
we got a lot of love for yacht rock here. Some recurring themes that we got here: a sense of escape, smooth, impeccable playing, high quality recordings, the nautical themes. We got the time range in there. We got a ton of recommendations from the panel here, and I think a pretty interesting discussion at the tail end there for maybe some of you who are interested in the more details that we brought out there. So I want to thank all of our panelists for being here tonight. This is a great discussion. I think it was smooth sailing, if you'll forgive the pun. Last one, I promise. So once again, thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to everyone at home for watching. If you like the channel, please share it around, like and subscribe. Please join the conversation in the comments too. That's there's always a second discussion after the first video in the comments. So throw some albums in there that you think are yacht rock. We'll see how contrarian your opinion is based on what everyone else says. There's the Patreon, there's the TeePublic, there's the Ko-fi, there's tons of stuff. Check out Martin's books at martinpopoff.com. He's the reason everyone's here, who brought the community together. So shout out to him and of course Marco. And thanks everyone. This is a great episode. So have a great night, everyone.
All right.
Great
Thanks.
night. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna stop the recording.